Good afternoon. Welcome to members of the Awards Committee for the Kentucky Board of Education and to all those viewing this meeting remotely. I'm Patrice McCrary. I do have a few notes I would like to announce before we get started, now that we have called the meeting to order. The meeting must comply with the requirements of the Open Meetings Act. Accordingly, Kentucky Board of Education members, you must ensure that your video is streaming and that you can be seen throughout the duration of this meeting. And then members, since there are only 4 of us, and there have been 3 in the past, we now have 4. Soliana Mesfin, our student Kentucky Board of Education member, has joined our committee, and we're thrilled to have you with us. We always love getting that student perspective. And here's another opportunity, Soliana. We're proud to have you with us. So since there are only 4 of us on this committee, you do not have to mute your microphone. Yay! So when you're talking, you're not going to have to deal with the mute and the unmute button over this. However, I do ask that you understand the importance to make sure that all discussions are broadcast to the public. That's our responsibility. For any items that do require a vote, and there are going to be 2 throughout this meeting, a roll call vote will be necessary to record those votes of each board member. And at that time, you simply say your name and then state, I vote yes or I vote no. And if you will now, silence all other electronic devices that may cause any disruptions to our sound feed. We are ready to get started. And welcome, Leslie. We're glad to have you with us here today, and we're going to ask you to do the roll call for us, please.
Thanks, Patrice. Happy to. Claire Batt.
Claire Batt, present.
Patrice McCrary.
Patrice McCrary, present.
Soliana Mesfin.
Soliana Mesfin, present.
And Lou Young.
This is Lou Young, present.
Madam Chair, all members are present.
Terrific. Thank you all for being here and for taking the time to prep for today. We're here to determine the award winner for the 2021 Robinson Award for Diversity and Equity in Public Education. Just a little review of what this award entails. The Robinson Award for Diversity and Equity in Public Education includes the following description. And before I read this, I want to say, as a Kentucky board member, I'm thrilled that it is in keeping with the beliefs of our present board. Dr. Samuel Robinson was a former member of the Kentucky Board of Education from 1991 to 2004, and he made diversity and equity in public education his life's work. He was a noted educator and civil rights leader. Robinson began his career in Kentucky and Louisville in 1960. His diverse background in public education included everything from being principal at Shawnee High School to president of the Lincoln Foundation. Robinson was also a well-known community figure as Louisville was navigating the civil rights era. So each year, the Kentucky Board of Education grants this award to a Kentuckian or a Kentucky organization demonstrating extraordinary efforts and contributions in the area of educational diversity and equity. The criteria for receiving this award includes, but is not limited to, successful efforts in closing socioeconomic and/or racial achievement gaps, and significantly improving student learning, student achievement, or other measured outcomes among students of color or economically disadvantaged students. Committee members, you were given the applications prior to this meeting, had an opportunity to go over those. And my request was that you would choose the top 5 of your choices. Now, it's very important that you remember that no candidate can be referred to by name, although Todd and his team have done an outstanding job of redacting the applications so that this has been done in a very fair and an equitable manner. We will refer to the candidates strictly by their numbers. So make sure that you use only those numbers. And I know, Soliana, this is your first time to meet with us, so don't hesitate to ask if you have any questions throughout this process. So once we do make that determination, there will be a vote that will be necessary, and we will make that vote. We will make that recommendation to the Kentucky Board of Education in our February 3rd regular meeting. Now, here's the fun part. We get to talk about these fabulous applications. Number one, we received what I would call a boatload of applications. And not only did we receive an incredible number of applications, they were spectacular. Just reading through them made my heart sing to see the work that is taking place across the Commonwealth. So our biggest chore was to get it down to 5. And so I'm going to ask each of you to share the numbers of your candidates. And then let's see if we can come to consensus of whichever of these candidates rises to the top. So, Lou, you want to go first this time?
I would be happy to, and echo all of those comments about the delight I took in reading the applications, and the variety of nominees was really heartening. Mine are number 1. My first choice is number 25. My second choice, number 10. My third, number 19. And then this will make Claire roll her eyes. I had a 3-way tie for amongst 7, 8, and 9. Honestly, tried to discriminate those, but you know, when you have certain numbers plugged into the rubric, it made it hard to get those down any more granularly. So 25, 10, 19, and a 3-way tie amongst 7, 8, and 9. So I got 6 in, Claire. I got 6 in.
I'm looking in here. She's really going to be unhappy with me when I give my information. Claire, I'm going to go ahead and have you share yours, please.
You're muted, Claire.
I think you're on mute. You're still on mute, Claire. You have a nice smile, but you're on mute. Oh, she's back.
I think my other connection opened, so it was probably double timing me. But I had to chuckle at Lou because I have a 3-way tie as well. And which is sort of funny because, yeah, anyway. So let me go through. My first one was 24. And then I have 19, 10, and 9 tying. And then 25 is my 5th.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay.
Soliana, I can't wait to see your lineup.
It's pretty similar, honestly. My first one was number 25. Second was 24. Third was 19. And then I also had a 3-way tie with 7, 8, and 9.
All right. Oh boy, this is going to be fun because we're kind of all over the place. I am at 19, 9, 24, And I went with 7 and 8 for my final ones. I'm looking for my 25. Talk to me about 25 just a little bit. Lou, that was your number 1?
Yes, it was.
Tell me your feedback on your number 1.
In the, I believe in the kind of most empirical sense, this one was the one that scored against the criteria most closely, is especially in terms of leadership and sustained excellence because of the variety of impact statements that are included in the nomination, which is often missed in the nominations to really get the level of data that we're looking for in this scoring. So I thought that one was really strong in terms of significant contributions, leadership, and sustained excellence.
Give me your 2 and 3 again, if you don't mind, Lou.
10 followed by 19.
Okay. All right, Claire, your number 1.
24. Well, I had 24 because I thought that there was a lot of ingenuity and out of the box thinking, really going to the teaching individuals to be self-regulating and self-aware. And I think that is one of those missing components in what we see in many of our schools that deal with lower socioeconomic kids. And besides that, the nominee brought in writing with that cultural awareness. So I thought it had just a lot of out-of-the-box thinking and really looking at promoting engagement in a real sense so that it really addressed the needs of learners. And to me, that's really a direction that I think our schools need to go to engage our lower socioeconomic and our African American and Hispanic communities, because I think sometimes those attributes are overlooked. In terms of 25, I think it had many activities going on. The actual data didn't really seem to be there in terms of showing actual change in student achievement. So I felt like that was something that concerned me about 25. So that's why I did not score it as highly as some of the others.
What were your top 3, Claire?
My top 3, 24, 19, and 10.
All right. Okay. Saliana, talk to us about your top one. What's the number? And then give us your rationale behind that.
Okay, so my number was 25, and I have a mix. I agree with both Ms. Batt and Dr. Young in that 25 was very straightforward with their accomplishments and their uprising towards their accomplishments. I saw very concise information on their achievements and their goals towards equity for Kentucky students, and their overall work really spoke to me, and I really saw how much they pushed forward in all their endeavors. So that was my 25. Yeah.
Now, tell me what your other 2, your top 3. Let's get down to the top 3.
It was 24 was second, and then 19 was third.
I struggled so much with this because I felt we were across the board. All of these people, all of these organizations, they're making a difference in our Commonwealth. So I really struggled to even put my top 5 in an order. So I can almost say that my top 5 are my top. So I could roll with those, any at all. And to be frank with you, I'm moving mine around, looking for my 25 again, and I will pull that up before the end of this. But 19, 9, 24, 7, 8, all of those. Oh, I found my 25. Wait. Yes, I do have my 25 in the top list. It's not one of my top 5, but it's in my top 6. So those were my top. And the reason that I went with each one of those is I felt very comfortable that it was one, sustainable. It was 2, there were innovative options included in that. 3, leadership had to take place in order for this to be successful, and it sounded successful. And it was indeed closing the gaps. So, like I said, number 19 was my 1. Right now, 19 is, let me see, I had 19, 9, and 24 for my top. Right now, the 2 that we have at the very tip top, we have 2 25s. We have a 19. We have 19, all 3 of us discussed 19 point in time. And we have 24.
Yeah, I made a grid too, Claire. The only 2 that we all 4 have are 19 and 9. Of those, 19 was only in the top spot for 1. Of those, 9 wasn't in the top spot. It was a 2, 3, or 4th place. So as I make this grid, unfortunately, it doesn't really eliminate anybody in the process. 25, 24, 19, 10, and 9. And really 9, 8, and 7 are neck and neck and neck for 3 of us.
All right, looks like in our top 3, if we pull them up to the top 3, looks like we're looking at 25, 19, 9, and 24. Is that what it looks like for you, Lou?
Correct.
Yeah.
Although you make an argument for 10. 10 is in 2nd and 3rd in 2 spots.
All right, so that puts us to 25, 19, 9, 24, and 10. All right, would everybody pull out their 25? And everybody pull out their 19. Sorry, I have papers on both sides of.
Interesting similarities between 25 and 19 is that they both read like lifetime achievement awards. So we're talking about the sustained impact comes out strongly in 25 and 19.
So they are definitely strong on the, they are in it for the long haul.
Yeah.
Okay. That's 19 and
25.
25, lifetime achievement. All right, we need to keep that in check. I'm going to mark off 25 and 19. Let's look 9, 24, and 10. Pull those out too. All right, any of you want to speak to 9, 24, or 10? Let's carry that one next.
I scored them both 9 and 10 the same. I you know, there again, I thought that they were both very strong. I scored 24 higher. I think, and I'm just trying to go through and look at notes for why, but I guess I thought I also liked the idea that the pulling in a therapist and looking at those mental health needs for troubled youth was very critical, and recognizing that that is sometimes a necessary component when working with kids. But the other two, you know, they were in my top with the same score. So I really, 9 was one of the few that really talked about the giving any kind of increase in the actual enrollment figures in the college, at the college level, where it talked about the minority increase. So I thought that was also good.
Okay, Soliana, you had 24 as second. Any input you want to give on 24?
Yes, I did. And it was pretty close to number 1. So I completely agree with what Claire said. I feel like they took such a unique approach to how they tackle racial equity and overall diversity and equity, with the therapist, with the methodology, just everything in general. It spoke to me in like having just a different route of things and how they made it effective in such a profound way. So I really do stand behind number 24, and it does seem long lasting as well.
So right now, it looks as though we are looking at the potential of 25, 24, or 19. Is that what you all are seeing as well?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, we've got it down to 3. I cannot tell you how good that feels. That really feels good right now, because this has been emotionally challenging, because I want them all to be recognized, because they are changing lives. This has been an emotional one. All right, so pull out your, what did we say? 25, your 24, and your 19. Look at those again very quickly, or take the time that you need, because in a moment I'm going to ask you to put those in order. Now, Soliana, I tried to look at this through the lens of a student.
Yes.
Because I'm a firm believer that you all are who will change our world on every level imaginable. But I am resting high hopes that you all bring a better tomorrow for us. So I think it's very important that we look at it through that lens. I I think it is critical that our teachers be prepared. I think it is critical that the impact is seen throughout not only our schools, but our communities. But I also would like to see a really strong focus on our students and the impact these individuals are making on our students. Does that make sense to you all, committee?
Yeah.
Agree or disagree?
Oh, I agree. Yes.
Lou, you're thinking.
Am I muted?
No, but you look like you're thinking.
Yes. So you're asking me if I believe we should consider this and based on its impact, the person's impact on students? Yes.
All right. Can we look at those three through that lens very briefly right now? I'm going to ask you again. Looking through that lens, what is your order? And Soliana, because that's the lens we're using, I'm going to go to you first.
So I ranked them.
Top three now through that lens.
Number 1, 24. Number 2, 19. Number 3, 25.
Claire?
I have the same order. I think Soliana and I are in synchronicity here.
Lou?
That was the same as Soliana, 24, 19, 25?
Mine was, yes.
Oh, okay. I would go 19, 24, 25.
All right. Mine are at 19, 24, and 25. So it looks like we are down to 19 and 24. Is that what it's looking like?
Yes.
Okay, we're down to 19 and 24. So let's do this. What do you see different about these two? I'm seeing one. I'm going to say one looks like they have a little bit more leadership involved, and another one has a little more creativity involved. I see those as the two major differences.
Mhm.
All right, what are you thinking, committee?
Well, okay. I see the leadership in 24 as being more in terms of offering the professional development to other teachers and I guess giving the opportunity to students to reflect on their own racial and cultural identities and perhaps share that. I see the 19 as being more a district-wide. And so, there again, it's sort of a little bit different in focus and audience. But I always sort of feel if you can make that personal contact and get authentic engagement, you're probably reaching more in reality than when you create programs that I don't know how it will fall upon the ears of the audience. So that's where I'm still sort of go with 24 because I think thinking out of the box is something that we have to encourage. And although I love 19 as well, so I'm like,
I'm going back.
I can go either way and feel
back
good
to our
about
last meeting. And if you recall, there was a discussion, if we need to,
do
we
too.
have 2 winners. So if we deem that the direction we want to go, there is nothing that is stopping us from doing that. Lou, comments on those 2?
Well, let me be really firmly clear. I don't want to argue against either one. That would feel disingenuous to me. So I can only highlight that they're 2 excellent candidates. 24 didn't make my list, but I also tend to be thinking about kind of the broader application. And I think Claire articulated that fine. So I can also support them both. They're entirely different manifestations of the spirit of the award, and there's nothing wrong with that.
I agree. Are you comfortable with both of those, Soliana?
I am, and I would just like to say, these 2 are both great, but with 24, there's a difference, especially from a student's perspective, when one demonstrates leadership towards a district or a committee or people that are not students versus having that one-to-one relationship impact with the students and actually building up from something like that. Often students don't even know what's going on behind closed doors, and whether or not it becomes effective in the long term is and no one can really tell. So it's really when you go through that student's perspective and kind of the individualized method of instilling your leadership and what you've learned into bettering the community, I think in my experience 24 is most kind of adaptable or something like towards students. I don't know if that made sense, but
It does.
It does, yeah.
Makes perfect sense. All right. Ladies, considering the focus of the Kentucky Board of Education, I would think having 2 recognized would be totally appropriate, especially since this covers the spectrum from 2 very diverse worlds, 2 very different approaches. Would you all be okay with us recommending 2?
I feel very happy with that because I think it shows you have to take a broad-based systemic approach, but also it comes down to that personal level as well.
That's exactly what I
think that, and I think that's really one of the ways we need to approach it because I think both are incredibly powerful.
I do too, and I think we have Tony on the line. Tony?
Yes, I'm here.
Are we okay with this?
Well, yeah, from my standpoint, yeah, I mean, you can certainly have 2. I mean, Todd, legally, I mean, you all can do whatever you all, if you want to, and we can certainly order 2 awards, and I can certainly, depending, I don't recall where they're from, but we can certainly get the awards to them. Holly's delivering one in Murray tomorrow, so we can do
28.
it.
How about 28? Can we do 28?
No. 2, Patrice, 2.
Okay. Looks like we are going to vote in a moment, but I am getting the sense we've come to consensus between 19 and 24. Can I have a thumbs up if we're ready to move forward?
Yay.
All right, okay. Based on this candidate's contributions to closing socioeconomic and/or racial achievement gaps and/or significantly improving student learning, student achievement, or other measured outcomes among students of color or economically disadvantaged students, I would ask the committee to entertain a motion to approve candidates number 19 and number 24 as the recipients of the 2021 Robinson Award for Diversity and Equity in Public Education. Is there a motion to approve candidates number 19 and 24 as the award winners?
This is Claire Batt, and I will make that motion.
And a second, please.
Lou Young, second.
And Leslie. Can we have a roll call, please?
Yes, ma'am. Claire Batt,
Claire Batt votes yes.
Patrice McCreary,
Patrice McCreary, a resounding yes.
Soliana Mespin,
Soliana Mespin votes yes.
and Lou Young.
Lou Young, vote yes.
Excellent. I want to say thank you to the committee members for taking the time and the effort and pouring over these applications. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did, the actual process. I want to say thank you to Leslie for joining us today and keeping us in line. Joette, of course, our always problem solver. Todd and your team, thank you for the redacting. In some cases, I know it was massive. Tony, thanks for your communication. Andy and team, Megan, thanks for the audio and video and getting us out in the public and the ability that you're giving us to continue this business of the board online through media. And this meeting is adjourned. I need a motion to adjourn it. I'm sorry, I need a motion to adjourn it.
So
I
moved.
saw Todd light up.
Claire Batt makes the motion to adjourn.
And a second,
Second.
and our roll call. Then we'll adjourn.
Claire Batt,
This is Claire Batt. I vote yes.
Patrice McCreary,
Patrice McCreary, I vote yes.
Soliana Mespin,
Soliana Mespin, I vote yes.
and Lou Young.
Lou Young, I vote yes.
Now the meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, guys.